Hello and welcome to this very special video. For in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about a most ambitious little project here. Of course, I am talking about the title of the video, Imperator Invictus. Now, what Imperator Invictus is a group of modders have come together and decided, no, that it doesn't matter that Paradox have seemingly indefinitely abandoned Imperator Rome. That doesn't matter. We are going to take it upon ourselves to create a mega mod, if you will, of all that the best of Imperator modding has to offer, put it in one neat little download, and people can download this and play with it and improve their experiences with the game when it comes to bug fixes and flavor and even some new mechanics. And that is, personally, I think, a really neat objective. So let's have a look at what Imperator Invictus has to offer. So, as you can see here, it is being developed, or not developed, but headed by Snowlet, who is the developer of the Bronze Age 2.0 mod. He took over from Svanley. And yeah, this is today the announcement of Imperator Invictus. So we'll read out what's going on here, and we'll go through the various mods that have been confirmed so far. This is not an exhaustive list, and there may be more coming, but these are the ones that are confirmed so far. Welcome. Invictus is Latin for unconquered, undefeated. Our English word invincible takes its root here. Given the unfortunate news recently concerning the game's status, we thought it best to combat an attitude of defeat with a fighting spirit. This mod is our effort to prevent this great game from going gently into that dark night. Thus, we are embarking upon a grand effort by the modding community, based around the Imperator mod co-op, to develop a community DLC and keep the game alive while we wait patiently for future updates. Within the lifespan of the current game, there have been attempts to various features of the game by the modding community, but these features have not yet been consolidated into a single grand work. By creating one grand mod pack, we can ensure all smaller flavor mods we integrate are compatible with one another, and thus players can enjoy the full experience developed by all the Imperator Rome modders. This mod pack will merge many existing flavor mods, greatly expanding vanilla content, while also adding content developed by us without being a total rework. It's not our intent to completely overhaul the game mechanics. We want people to be able to play the mod and understand everything while having only played vanilla. So, with respect to existing content, the following mods have been integrated into Invictus. And again, this is not an exhaustive list. There may or may not be some more coming that, again, they just have not been confirmed. And also the people who are working on the mod right now are not finished. They are also currently developing new things for it, which is, I think, kind of cool. So I've got all of these links open up in the top. We'll have a talk about them. If I have played them myself, I will let you know what is in the mod and my thoughts upon it. So yeah, let's get into it. First off, we have the 2 Spartan Kings mod. This is, as the title says, it gives you 2 kings for Sparta. Sparta was famously a diarchy, which means it had, funnily enough, 2 kings, and they were Spartan. Basically, it replaces the consort, giving bonuses from being a consort, with a co-basileus. This is, of course, made for pre-2.0, but it has, of course, been updated to the latest version of the game. And you will be able to have 2 consorts, two rulers in Sparta. It's basically this what it says on the tin. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Yeah, that's basically it. It just does what it says. And it's historically accurate, which is nice. Next up, we're going to be jumping over to Commander Kings. One of the big problems that we faced when 2.0 came out and the introduction of legions was that your ruler, your king, was not able to lead a legion. And for countries like Epirus, they famously did have the army being led by the ruler, by Pyrrhus. At the Battle of Ipsus, we had the Antigonid forces being led by Antigonus. So there are multiple examples of the ruler leading the army, and this was not possible because it's kind of difficult when you have the levies being automatically commanded by the ruler. It was hard to get the code to work, I guess. I don't know. But either way, we have a fantastic little workaround here by Master of Experts, who I believe goes by Paulus. I'm sure I'm right on that. Yes, Paulus II. Who has managed to figure out a system whereby your primary region, I believe, gets a sort of regent, which is, an interesting and viable way to do it. And you then have your ruler become the commander of your armies, which is kind of awesome. And yeah, definitely needed. So yeah, Commander Kings, another mod that is going into this lovely little mod pack. Next up, we have the Bloodlines 2.0 mod, which adds a whole host of new bloodlines into the game. Things like the blood of the Achaemenids. Of course, we have one Achaemenid queen ruling in Heraclea Pontica, and she will have the blood of the Achaemenids. At the moment, the only bloodlines, if I can recall them off the top of my head, are the 5 Diadochi and Pyrrhus, and also the blood of the Argeads. But now we're going to be getting a whole host of new ones, such as the aforementioned Achaemenids, the Maurians, the Agathoclids, the Zadokites in Judea, a whole bunch of them, and they have their own bonuses as well. One of the best things about the Bloodlines mod, however, is that blood will be passed both matrilineally and patrilineally, which means you can quite easily, I guess, have more than one bloodline at the same time. One of the other problems with vanilla, or I say problem, decisions that I personally disagree with may be a better phrase to use here, was that a lot of the bloodlines, everything but the Argead bloodline, was passed only patrilineally. So you could marry a woman with this blood, and somehow that blood didn't get passed on to the kid, which is a bit iffy. I personally didn't like it, but this mod totally solves that by making all bloodlines, both matrilineally and patrilineally, passable downable, which is totally a word, don't worry about it. Next up, we have Great Wonders Refined, which, among other things, adds a bunch of new wonders into the game that you can build. I know personally I got a little bit tired with the lack of wonder options, and to see a bunch of new options come in is fantastic. There are some really nice options here that you can build, and it just diversifies the variety of wonders you can build, which is, a really nice thing to add. It's nice, it's good, it's some good stuff, and you can see them on the map here as well. I like it, it's good stuff. Next up, we have Iberian Invictus, which adds a lot of countries to Ireland. Instead of the majority of the island being barren wastelands just ready to be colonized, we have a bunch of countries here instead. So, yeah, good stuff there. If you wish to play in Ireland or in the British Isles in general, that may be the mod for you. Or you could just play with this lovely little companion compatibility mod pack thingamabob that we're talking about right now. Next up, we have Iberian Flavor, which, as the title describes, it adds flavor to Iberia. The whole place. It's got flavor. Spelled flavor wrong, but it's got flavor anyway. And yeah, it just does what it says on the tin. Adds a bunch of flavor to the mod. Changes faiths, more deities, changed holy sites, more treasures, all of that good stuff, cultural names for territories. Very nice. If you like playing in Iberia, or if you're a country that eventually conquers Iberia, this may be something you should be looking forward to in the mod pack. Next up, we have Interesting Histories, which basically At the start of the game, you'll get a pop-up, like we have here, telling you about a bit of the history behind the country you are playing as, which personally I think is kind of pretty cool. Knowing a bit about the history of where you come from or what your country you're playing is really good to get you in the mood, set you on the right path, and just know a bit about the country you're playing as. So another really nice mod to be added. Next up, we have Interesting Treasures, which adds a whole bunch of treasures into the game, which is kind of important, because unless you're playing in like the Greek region, there's really not a whole lot of treasures for you to find. There's a whole lot when it comes to Alexander's former empire, but outside of that, in Gaul, Iberia, there's just nothing. So you're ending up with pretty empty holy sites, whereas the kingdoms that exist in this region have ample treasures left over. So this is another really nice mod so that you can solve that particular issue. Next up, we have the Legacy of Menander, which increases the amount of flavor you'll get for playing as specifically Bactria and also the Indo-Greek kingdom. It adds, again, lots of flavor and also a couple of mission trees. So if you like playing as Bactria, this is definitely one that you should be looking out for. Next up, we have Rosetta Imperator Edition, which basically will, when you conquer a territory as, say, Rome, it will give you the Romanized name, adds a bunch of very localized names in a bunch of the world. Dynamic province names, that's the word I'm looking for, dynamic province names. So yeah, it just increases the flavor, which is very nice. More Roman names, Greek names expanded, Gaulish, British, and Hispanic provinces now have, the correct cultural names, which is, again, kind of cool. I keep saying, again, kind of cool. I need to come up with more words for that, don't I? Anyway, next up, Sell Provinces. This is one made by Agamade, and it's mostly made for multiplayer, where if you want to sell whole-ass provinces to your allies. But I can also see it being very useful when you are dealing with vassals. Basically, instead of selling a single city at a time, you can sell a whole-ass province at a time. It's useful if you want to grow your vassal and you don't want to worry about, it's going to take me 120 months because I've got 120 territories I want to sell to him. You just wholesale province sellage, which is nice. Also region sellage as well. So a lovely little mod there if that is what you're into, the vassal game or multiplayer. Next up, we have the Forgotten, which adds a bunch of flavor to the Getian Thracian area. Specifically, it adds a brand new culture group for Adrisia, the Moesi, Triballi. This area here is a brand new culture group called Thracian. Adds a bunch of flavor to that region. So if you want to play there and you don't really think that you should be Zalmoxian, I believe the culture group here is, or Hellenic, you think there's just a whole ass new culture here, or a more historically accurate depiction of the cultures here, then this may be one to look out for as well. And finally, we have the unofficial patch, which just fixes a bunch of little bugs, specifically in missions and also in, governors selecting religious conversion policy when it was pointless. That annoyed me very much so, and this just fixes a bunch of little bugs, which is kind of awesome. So, that is these mods. We want to thank the developers of these mods for their contributions and for their generosity in granting us their work and the prospect of improving the game and experience for everyone. In terms of new features for Invictus, you'll have to follow along for future updates as we get closer to release. Feel free to join the Discord and take part in the ongoing discussion about what you think belongs in a mod like this, and there's obviously a link there. There'll also be a link in the description below, as well as a link to this forum post as well. In terms of suggestions, our goal is that anyone familiar with only vanilla Imperator should be able to pick up the mod and play without trouble, and that all features must be either historical or reasonably plausible and fun. As this is a community project, we will listen to and work in the interest of the Imperator Rome community. We look forward to hearing from you. And this is the team headed again by Snowlet. We have modders, and also me. Haha! I don't know why. I think it's a bit silly that I've been credited because I haven't really done anything yet. But yes, there's some really intelligent, smart, talented modders here, and it's great to see them coalesce to bring this to people. The mod is not out yet. There's no set date for when it will be out, but I will be keeping people up to date with the updates to this project, and I am very much looking forward to being able to share it with you all when it is finally out and released and working. And I'm fairly sure that in the future this will be what we use for multiplayer games as well. This will be the way to play. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Snowlet and all of the other fantastic modders in here. Of course, we've got the Bronze Age mod developer. Subossonator is the Imperatrix Victoria modder. We've got, just a bunch of people. Parsiple is a big modder as well. I mean, just, bunch of really cool people and a cool project. So, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.